Welcome back to Everyday Kentucky. Today, we are learning more about the horses that are racing this weekend.
And joining us this morning to talk all things Derby is former WKYT sports director and the Big Blue Insider himself, Mr. Dick Gabriel. Good to see you, buddy.
Good morning. Good to see you again. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Big
you
fan.
also.
Big
Thank
fan.
you so much.
Yeah.
So we have horses that are racing this weekend, and for those people like myself who know absolutely nothing, please help us out.
Well, okay. I'll tell you the horses I like
Okay.
for whatever it's worth. Now, I start with the favorite, Forte, and he is well-deserved. He was the 2-year-old champion. He won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's looked really good. But let me tell you something, and Weather Boy here will appreciate this. It's been so chilly and windy over at Churchill Downs. We've been freezing. Horses love it. So they really, they really train well. And one of the trainers said they love it a little too much. You know, they get a little full of themselves and want to go. But yeah, Forte is just a great looking horse. He's got a great trainer. He's got great conformation, great bloodlines, all of it. And has done, as they say, everything right. I mean, he is just, that's him with the yellow saddle cloth.
Wow.
And as you can see, he just looks every bit the athlete. And you can tell, it's funny when the Derby horses are out there, you know, the ones that kind of look like they're built like Will Levis, you know, then you got some of the horses that look like Groucho Marx, you know, you can tell they're not Derby horses. But another one I really like is the horse that won the Bluegrass Stakes, which we kind of call the home team, you know, the winning at Keeneland, Tappet Trice. And Tappet Trice ran a really courageous race, came from behind and won the race. And you know, did it in impressive fashion, coming from off the pace, which you're probably going to have to do when you win the Derby. And as you can see, he's a gray. Everybody loves the gray.
Well, they're beautiful.
I know.
Trained by, and Grays have won the Derby, trained by Todd Pletcher. So that's a horse that could get there, and he's improving, and he's getting faster with every race. Now, another one that's going to be a bit of a long shot, but he's getting a lot of play, is the horse from Japan called Derma Sotogake. And there have been horses from Japan that have come to the Derby before and not done very well because they train differently over there. But this is a horse that, like the other ones, getting faster with his races. But the biggest thing to me is his grandsire, his granddaddy, is a horse named Sunday Silence, who was a Derby winner in 1989, one of my all-time favorite Derby winners, and not a poster horse. He was not a great-looking horse, but ran unbelievably well. From Stone Farm, Arthur Hancock's farm right over in Paris. He was sold to some Japanese interests and went over to Japan and became a superstar sire, a sire of champions. And so in his bloodline, Derma Sotogake has Sunday Silence, and that matters. That was a hard-knocking horse that really knew how to run. So that's one reason I'm going to put a little bit on the horse from Japan. They call him the Japanese horse, not that he speaks Japanese. Okay. Now, the horse that I really like, that I'm going to play on top, is a horse called Angel of Empire. And I was so pleased because Ellis Starr was a great handicapper. He's coming on my show tonight. But in talking to him, even before I picked this horse, he picked this horse. So I'm like, yes! You know, he has run the farthest, the fastest, which is what I look for. He's won at 1 1/8 miles. The Derby, of course, 1 1/4 miles. He's won at 1 1/8 miles twice. And he has turned in the fastest equibase speed figure. It's an equation they use, a formula to decide, you know, who has run really fast at what conditions. And he ran a 1:06, which is really flying. Now, sometimes horses do what they call bounce, which is come way down from what they ran in the past. But I am betting literally on Angel of Empire getting even a little bit better. But of course the race has to set up for him. You know, there has to be a good trip, a good path, nobody doing something stupid in mid-stretch. You don't want to get crushed on the first turn. It's like a cavalry charge. But if it's honest pace, and if he gets the trip, that's the horse I'm picking.
I've got a deeper question for you to kind of reflect. You've been doing sports
forever,
6 decades, right?
Something
like that.
Yeah.
What's your biggest Derby memory of all those?
Boy, that's a great question. Well, I picked Sunday Silence over a horse named Easy Goer. He was supposed to be the next coming of Secretariat. But Easy Goer, that's a good question, Jim. Easy Goer did not win the Breeders' Cup at Churchill Downs because he didn't like the track at Churchill Downs. And so I thought, well, if he didn't like the track last year, he's not going to like it this year, and I threw it out. Now, it may rain on Saturday a little bit.
A little bit, there's a chance, yeah.
Pat Day once told me that when the track at Churchill is really wet, it's fast. When it's just a little wet, he said it's like running in peanut butter.
Oh.
And a lot of horses just don't like it. And many times, trainers and jockeys have come off the race saying he just didn't like the track. And it sounds like an excuse, but it's legitimate.
Okay.
But there have been some other ones, just some other Derby horses that I really liked. I loved Ali Sheba, who was bred right across the street from us here at KYT. And he ran well at Keeneland, and I remember standing on the track, and he's coming right at us, and he stumbled. And I thought he was going down, and I screamed because I thought the horse was going down.
Yeah.
He straightened up, and not only straightened up, but one going away.
Oh, wow.
So there's things like that. It seemed like every year.
You got to cover it all.
And one year, Jim, it snowed on Derby Day.
That
Flurries.
Really?
1989, I
Yeah.
believe, right?
Yeah.
It didn't snow for the race itself, but earlier in the day, didn't
and
it?
it was a brutal day, raw day.
Oh, sure.
So anything can happen.
We've got some of the post positions here, Dick, for both the Oaks and the Derby that we can talk about. Here's the Oaks. Who do you like in the Oaks?
Well, actually, I like a bit of a long shot. Wet Paint's the favorite. Good horse, Botanical, a really nice horse. But I'm kind of going with the home team. On the next page, you'll see there she is, Defining Purpose, the 11 horse trained by Kenny McPeak. Kenny went to Tates Creek High School, went to UK, although he rarely went to class. He'd go over to the Keeneland Library and read the racing form. But he has got about 200 horses under his supervision now. But I talked to him just yesterday, and he's got a Kentucky Derby long shot. But Defining Purpose, he really likes her chances, and I do too. So, but that's a tough race as well. And by the way, Kenny's horse, Son of Thunder, the owners met the Pope.
Really?
And the Pope put Son of Thunder on their prayer list. And the Pope will be praying for Son of Thunder on Derby Day that morning.
Oh,
You got to kind of lean towards Son of Thunder.
You would think so.
Here are the
And
Derby
there's-
post
Yeah.
positions
Yeah.
and odds too there.
Yeah, and there you see, you'll get an okay price on Tapit Try. They won't go off at these odds. I think
Right.
the longer shots will go off longer, and the favorites will go off a little bit shorter. And as you can see, Angel of Empire, who when I first noticed him was at 29-1. I'm like, cha-ching, but he'll go even shorter at 8-1. You saw a horse named Skinner, and I texted Craig Skinner, the Kentucky volleyball coach. I said, hey, there's a horse named Skinner. He said, I already know, and I've already reached out and asked him for a hat. So, and that horse has a
Hilarious.
chance. Skinner has a chance. He's another horse that is improving and getting faster. So I know one volleyball coach who'd be very happy if Skinner won.
And of course, we can always be surprised too, right?
That's true.
That's the thing.
Like last year, 80-1 shot.
Wow.
Who drew in the day before the race?
That's
Rich
crazy.
Strike.
That's right.
Somebody
That's right.
scratched, and we're in the race, and then they win because they the faster horses got burned up on the front end, and Rich Strike came from out of it.
And won.
80-1.
That's amazing.
Yep. And by the way, Skinner's trained by the trainer who trained Giacomo in 2005
Giacomo.
and paid $102 to win. So that guy knows how to train a long shot up to the Derby. John Sheriffs.
Absolutely.
Well, we appreciate you being here.
My
and
pleasure.
hanging out with us. And people can find you on.
Big Blue Insider every night, 6 o'clock. Big Blue Insider 1 on Twitter.
Perfect. Thank you so much.